Reddit's getting paid tens of millions of dollars a year to use your data. Apple getting fined $500 million because they don't like Spotify. And can we finally finish this GPU power saga, please? Let's get into hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. And we missed yesterday's episode because it was a public holiday here in the US, which we don't work. It's President's Day, by the way, which my South African employees were like, what is that? Which is what a lot of people are asking when it comes to Reddit's newly announced deal with regards to how they're going to submit their data for generative AI content, and that this is going to allow them to make $60 million a year off of everybody just submitting posts to their platform. This is something that Reddit has had a long-standing stance against, with them making sure that their APIs were locked down, that their data was not being scraped out on the public internet, and now we know why, because they are going to be getting paid for it. It's not quite clear which company is actually going to be paying Reddit for this amount, but it's very clear that this announcement's kind of coming on the backs of the fact that they have their IPO to be a public stock this coming March, so it's looking like they need revenue in order to be profitable. And what good was everybody's data on a website until AI showed up? Not much, which is why Reddit has never been profitable, and now we're starting to see that they do have the ability to take your content and monetize it in a way that is very advantageous for them. But this continuously brings up the conversation, which I want to toss over to you, the viewers, which is especially when it comes to like Bing search with AI, Microsoft Copilot, Google Bard. When you start summarizing all of these websites with generative AI, what you do is you remove the financial incentive from the people to post the content, because they're no longer getting people ending up on their site and getting that ad revenue, so they have no longer a financial incentive to actually post that content anymore, which means that the content that the AI is pulling from dries up, thereby making the AI worse and making it so that people don't want to use it. It's going to be a weird kind of tit for tat that we see go on in the AI space as monetization schemes really start to shift and transform, and like we figure out how does all of this work. I'm just curious if you've thought about it in depth, if you see a strategy that a company's not using that they could actually go for. With Reddit, it's a little bit less of a problem because users don't get paid to post in the first place, except for they do have their new Reddit Gold system, which technically gets counted as paid for posting, but I don't particularly count that. I want to hear from you down below while you hear about today's video sponsor. This is the MagGo Wireless 3-in-1 from Anker, who's also sponsoring this video. The Anker MagGo Wireless is an ultra compact 3-in-1 with a foldable design. With that fold-up design, the MagGo is designed to charge your phone, AirPods, and watch simultaneously. Weighing in at only 6.9 ounces, being smaller than an Apple mouse, and measuring half the size of an iPhone 15 Pro, Anker has made sure that the MagGo Wireless puts portability at the forefront of their design. On top of being extremely portable, the MagGo also delivers impressive charging capabilities, so you're not sacrificing speed for convenience. The MagGo charger offers lightning-fast 15-watt charging, equivalent to the original Apple MagSafe charger, and twice as fast as the standard 7.5 wireless chargers. Additionally, unlike other chargers, the Anker MagGo is MFW certified, allowing you to charge your Series 9 watch to 47% in just 30 minutes. With the MagGo being able to quickly charge up to 3 devices at once, charging safety and temperature control is a must to ensure your devices maintain a safe temperature while charging. Anker's Active Shield 2.0 conducts 3 million temperature checks daily, as well as featuring foreign object detection, radiation shielding, overcurrent protection, and overvoltage protection. With the MagGo Wireless's compact design, it lends itself very well to being a great nightstand or desktop charger, or even traveling with it. Being able to keep your phone, watch, and AirPods together while they charge is great, so you don't misplace anything. Additionally, a small footprint saves space wherever you plug it in, so your Apple devices are always charged up and out of the way. Something I particularly enjoy about the MagGo is that when charging an iPhone 15, that fold-out design features an angle steep enough to let the phone enter standby mode. So by simply mounting the phone horizontally on the charger, you can trigger standby mode to use your phone screen as a clock, a calendar, or whatever else standby mode offers. If you're looking for a fast and convenient way to keep your daily use devices charged, even on the go, pick up an Anker MagGo Wireless 3-in-1 charger today via the link in the video description. Thank you to Anker for bringing you today's video. Now let's continue on with the woes of AI, specifically with an airline in Canada having to deal with its chatbot going rogue and announcing that it wants to give away money money that the company didn't want to give away. It was ruled that Air Canada has to honor a refund policy that one of their ChatGPT chatbots gave to a customer who was bereaving the death of his grandmother, so he tried to get a at least partial refund for his flight, trying to find out what is the bereavement policy with Air Canada, and it turns out that, at least according to the chatbot, you could submit it for a reduced bereavement rate. The chatbot told the flyer that they could get a refund within 90 days for their flight if they had a bereavement cancellation. Air Canada said that they don't offer that whatsoever, and the chatbot pointed to a bereavement website, which it should have announced that the policy was different than what the agent on the other side was communicating to the customer, but it was ruled by the Canadian authorities that Air Canada has to honor this. So the flyer did end up getting a partial refund, but one of the tribunal members said that Air Canada argues it cannot be held liable for information provided by one of its agents, servants, or representatives, including a chatbot. It does not explain why it believes that is the case, or why the webpage titled Bereavement Travel was inherently more trustworthy than its chatbot. This is going to be something that we're going to have to start discerning as a society and a culture as to what matters, what do we hold accountable, especially when tons of websites are just rolling out these very clearly OpenAI powered chatbots that you can kind of hack like Mongo Tom and get it to say stuff that it probably shouldn't be saying, but now it's doing it on behalf of the company, which not everybody's going to be privy to. Oh, hey, this is a third-party service offered by OpenAI. Therefore, the company it's representing is not the company that the program is from, so the company it's representing can't be held liable for everything that's going on. We're going to get into a lot of weird mishmash situations like this moving forward. I'm keeping my eyes on it. Let me know what you think of all this down below in the comments. Well, the EU lets you know that they're looking into TikTok, which is something we continuously hear, but this is part of the Digital Services Act that the EU is bringing forward, specifically with regards to checking out the safety of minors and things like addictive algorithms, the rabbit hole effect, age verification issues, and default privacy settings. Things that Meta and Instagram and Facebook have all kind of been hit by the EU from, and now the EU is actually looking into TikTok to see how things actually will change over. Specifically, there are potentially some options that the For You page and algorithmically driven content will no longer be allowed to be served specifically for children who are ages 13 to 17 or potentially at all. There's rumblings happening in multiple different countries and city-states and nations about the fact that they might start rolling away algorithmically generated content and start going towards more of subscription-based platform as things used to be, which you could argue could be better for the end user, but also definitely is not better for the company who's trying to turn a profit and keep you addicted to all of their stuff. You got to buy more stuff. You got to consume more content like Reese's Deals.
Hey, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. Happy not Monday, and I hope you had a good start to your week regardless, but you know, deals. For those of you still rocking it old school who needs CD drive bays, we've got this fractal design Focus G mid-tower ATX case for only $34.99, making it $25 off. Then next up, we have a staple with the Team Group T-Force Delta RGB RAM kit featuring 16 gigs of RAM running at 3200 megahertz for only $42.99 with the included promo code, making it $17 off. And then lastly, we have this gorgeous Epos Gaming H6 Pro wide gaming headset available in white for only $99.95, making it $79.05 off. And hey, them's the deals. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below, but until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Apple's been hit with a bad deal, and that is a 500 million euro levy from the EU, specifically over its abusing of its market position in its competition with Spotify. It's been ruled that because of its integration in iOS and other different software services it has, Apple Music has an unfair advantage, and so therefore it's being hit with a 500 million euro fine, and that this could potentially start changing how they implement their Apple Music software in iOS starting in March 2024, because that's supposed to be happening. This going alongside the fact that Apple now has to allow for third-party payment platforms on their phones and potentially even third-party app stores that can be side-loaded. It's creating a whole new situation as we're marching forward with legislation finally catching up to technological problems that we were dealing with 10 years ago. So I'm excited to deal with all of the AI stuff in lawsuits in Parliament and all of that in like 2045. That's going to be great. And Wyze didn't want to be dealing with this. This webcam company had an outage that led to 13,000 customers seeing each other on their webcam profiles. According to Wyze, there was an outage that affected these customers because of AWS, and the events tab on the Wyze app actually swapped with other people who were using the Wyze app so that you got somebody else's feed. This was not video. This just happened to be thumbnails, which could find people in a compromising position, specifically if they have one of their security cameras in a place where they might get changed, you know, just to review how they dress in the morning. I don't know. But Wyze saying that this incident was caused by a third-party caching client library that was recently integrated into their system, and to make sure this doesn't happen again, they've added a new layer of verification before users are connected to event videos. We've also modified our system to bypass caching for checks on user-device relationships until we identify new client libraries that are thoroughly stress-tested for extreme events like we experienced on Friday. So, just not giving your private life to other people. That's why I upload everything I do to YouTube. It's great stuff. And what hasn't been great stuff is the power connector situation going on with the RTX 40 series GPUs. We've talked about this at length. There's still continuing issues. CableMod having to issue a mandatory recall for their power connectors. Companies talking about the Nvidia power connector is just not safe. It's melting. The cables are too thin. Engineering, you can't get over it. And it turns out there's a new fix. Okay, it's instead of the way it was, they added another plus. Now it's the 12V-2x6H plus GPU power connector that not only potentially fixes a few things by being slightly thicker, but also can now deliver more wattage, going up to 675 watts versus the 600 watts. So it can actually deliver more juice. And this started to roll out with some of the new 40 series super cards that came out, such as the 4070 Super. Now this likely is only on the Founders Editions and not on the third-party card models. So this isn't going to be solved. There's also some rumors that they're going to be updating it again for the RTX 50 series to potentially have the same problem. So it's rated for more power. It's not clear what they've substantially changed on the wires, but the socket is now an extra plus, so you got more power going through it. This isn't over. We'll just have to wait and see. They're not going to go back. That's the thing. Nvidia's not going to go back to 8-pin power connectors. The only thing we can really hope for is that Intel and AMD don't follow suit with these new power connectors, and that we stay on 8 pins for those companies. Intel, AMD, I'm begging you, stick with what's working. If you have to power a GPU with more than 4 8 pins, just don't sell it to end users. Sell it to the professionals. Make sure they have a server power supply. For us, we don't need more than 4 8 pins. Just leave us be. If you have to deliver more than 600 watts, which is not even how much 4 8 pins can hit, just reconsider your methods, please. That's all I'm saying. And I'm going to consider your comments that you left on Friday's episode of Hot News. We got Octagonal Square saying, the new AI video gen is crazy. While there are inconsistencies, they got past the previous biggest hurdle, temporal consistency. Before, objects would shake and change shape between frames. Now they move smoothly and stay the right shape. From here, it is just getting better shapes, which may prove to be harder. I don't know, I'm not an expert, but it seems more doable. Scary how fast this is evolving and changing. It's been a year since that Will Smith eating spaghetti video. Yeah, that's been the biggest conversation piece, is that it has moved so rapidly from Will Smith bastardizing a plate of spaghetti to what we saw with Sora and OpenAI. However, there are like little rumblings, and I haven't super verified this. I've only done preliminary digging, so this is not gospel. This is not proven to be a fact, but there is some indication that maybe Sora actually didn't generate those videos, that Sora actually generated them as AI, but really they're pretty much already existing stock footage. So there's a couple ways that this has been verified, like the fact that Shutterstock videos have been compared side by side to examples that Sora sent out, and they're essentially identical, which you would expect that, you know, the training data it's built on would give you a similar result. But then there's also issues where, like, when people are uploading the Sora videos, they're getting copyright claims by the stock footage websites because they are so visually similar to what Sora generated. It's just an intriguing thing we have to look at, especially since OpenAI did not reveal how they're doing this, their training set data, or they're not giving public access. So all of that screams, this is weird. This is not, why are they not telling us all of the details of how this was generated? Why are they not telling us when this is going to be made available to the public? It felt more like a business, hey, look at this new thing we have, like the Cybertruck, rather than a, hey, this is what you can actually do if we give you access to this new model that's out there. I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on it as things change. Lydia Melody saying, Sly Cooper was so good. I remember being super impressed by the dynamic music. I remember playing a level with a song in 5/4 time and getting into combat and being blown away when the music changed accordingly. Not immediately, not cross-fading from one song to another. It waited for the next measure and switched on the beat like an organic, unbroken song. Not unusual nowadays, but back then it melted my little music geek mind. I did not play Sly Cooper, so I did not experience this firsthand, but childlike wonder and discovering of like just what video games could be as a child in the PS2 era. You gave me a lot of nostalgia with your comment. And then we got Stretch Data saying, if the Valve Prism thing doesn't tell Valve we want a new version of the index, nothing will. I'm very interested to see where they take it. Which, Valve is not necessarily beholden to how much people want things. They are working on the Valve Decker. Valve is working on a standalone headset. Just like Valve knows there is insane demand for Half-Life 3. It doesn't matter how much people want it. If Valve doesn't want to come out with it, they're not going to come out with it. They're not a publicly traded company where they have to be throwing things out there all of the time. Unfortunately, even if we get excited over the Valve Prism, if it's not in Valve's pipeline to come out with a standalone headset that they feel confident in, they're just not going to do it. It's just like they're not updating the APU in the Steam Deck, despite the fact that it bothers me so much and I think it's underpowered. They're just not doing it. And then we got Logan saying, resurgence of RuneScape. Good sir, some of us never stopped after almost 20 years. Yeah, we have one of those people in our office, Michael. He is incessantly playing old school RuneScape. When we traveled to CES, I look over while we're waiting for a flight, and that man had his fishing wizard pulled up on his iPad while we were waiting for our flight. He's put a lot, like I can't even remember the amount of hours that guy has put into both old school RuneScape and new RuneScape. I know it's a thing. That's why specifically I made the dig at RuneScape, because we've got a lover of RuneScape in the office. And I don't love keeping this episode of Hot News going because I have COVID. My wife left for South Africa about a week ago, and in that time, our youngest son got COVID. And because he has so many needs where I have to, be feeding him, giving him his meds, doing all the things intimately with him, I unfortunately contracted it. I feel like absolute garbage right now. I have a fever over 100. I can't take any of the medication that they prescribe you for COVID because it interacts with some of my other medications that I have to take for various different things I got. I will see how this week goes for content. I am not, if this is day 2. Yesterday was my first day of being positive. I don't know what the rest of the week will look like. So I hope you will bear with me, because I gotta take care of my family until my wife gets back later. She's not even on the continent.